Okay, hello everybody. Name's Greffrey, and I am just been toying around with an idea of recording a video of the Phantasy Star 4 80% no major glitches route. And I figured, well, hey, let's get something started here. So, what my goal is to accomplish is just to kind of walk through the route in a video way, because I imagine for some people they don't necessarily just like reading walls of text that are available from notes or anything. So maybe just having a more of a visual aspect where you're actually stepping through the game may actually have more of a benefit. So that is what I'm going to accomplish today. So for the first bit, I'm just going to do the first part based on going up to Zeo. So normally for a really good runner, that's about 54, 55 minutes. It could be hour 10, depending on where you are as well, and just depending on what's going on. So that's my guess for what we're going to accomplish here. So let's get started. So one of the key things is the text goes really slow in this game at the beginning, as you see there, unless you're holding down a button. And so it does that nicely for you. So we're going to be adjusting that later, so we don't have to hold down a button. But at the beginning, you do have to hold down a button just to make the text go fast, and then mash your way through every single text box. Or if you have a turbo controller, you're actually able to do that on your own. You can just have that set up instead. For the turbo, I like having it so the B button on the Genesis controller is the turbo button, because that's the least impactful one in case you go overboard. So if you're going through text and it just continues tries to press B after the fact, it doesn't do anything at all. But if you did for A, it would open up the menu and rifle through items and then goes from there. Or if you do C, it will try to investigate whatever's in front of you, which odds are is probably nothing. Or worse, you talk to somebody again and you waste a whole bunch of time. So we'll just get through this, and once we're here, we'll gain control of Chaz finally. And we will do our first little bit of menuing, which is just adjusting the battle speed and the message speed. Alright, so we're done there. So, all you need to do is just press the start button to bring up this group of messages, items here. We have a message. You want to change it to 1 for fast, for message. However, you don't want to hit A here. You want to hit B to back out. It'll keep what you chose, but if you choose A, it closes everything again, because you still have to do battle speed 1 as well. So the best way to go about that is just that, shift it over to 1, B, then shift this over to 1, then press A to close it all. Alright, we talk. Now, like, I'm only pressing the advanced button text there, so it's going nice and speedy now. Alright, going and talking to the principal to find out about the job. Gotta go investigate the basement, because there's been all sorts of funny stuff crawling out of there. Let's work our way through this real quick before we go on to anything else. Seems very distraught about it and doesn't like questions being asked. And then we'll work our way to the basement where the job is, and along the way we will pick up our next character, Han. And just get through his little chat as well and get some cash out of it as well for bringing him along. So for this beginning part of the game, we don't do a lot of fighting. We actually do a lot of running right at the very start. We're not fighting anything in the basement that's a random encounter. We are just looking for just getting to the boss as quick as we can without we're not picking up any items down here. We're not fighting random encounters. We're just gunning for the boss. Boo! Scare the little guy away. Ooh, cannot escape, you say? It's already on a spicy start. And at least there's only 2 floors to really worry about much here. So we'll just keep running every time. What's this? Ah, Iggy. So this is our first boss. However, it's not really a boss as far as the game is concerned. You can actually paralyze this thing with Chaz's Earth ability, and if the paralysis sticks into the following round, you can run away. So we'll see what we get here. So how we always start this off is with Elise using her Vortex ability. Chaz will use Earth. And then Han, you use Vision to increase our accuracy to make sure that we hit. Iggy, okay, so Earth Mist. So we have a standard fight on our hand. So from this point forward, we're just going to do Vortex on himself. And Chaz will also attack anything that spawns, and Han will just defend. Han shouldn't have to attack at all during this fight at all. And let's go to the Vortex there, that there, defend again. Iggy itself has 300 hit points, so one thing to keep in mind is if you see Vortexes are dipping on average below 60 for damage, that you may have to poke with Han at the very end just to make sure, because it should be a perfect 5 of Elise's Vortexes or Alice, depending on how you pronounce it. I'm gonna say Elise because that's what I'm just used to calling her. There. So that, clearly all my damage was 60 or higher, so I was able to do that no problem. Get some experience out of it, and we'll go on from here. Let's get through this text real quick. So that's typically what you're going to see. It's a fairly low chance that you get the paralysis to not just initially hit, but also to stick into the following round. And as long as Iggy is paralyzed and there are any other enemies on the screen that he spawns, then yeah, you can just run away. And usually that's just a touch over the 3-minute mark on a good walk. So we'll just work our way out of here, and then we'll go and talk to the principal again. Just had to cough there briefly. So once we are finished on talking to the principal, we will go on to the next area of Zima. And while we're doing that, we'll take a quick stop into Mile to just enter the town and leave it. That's all we're doing. Because we just want to have visited it so we can use our teleport spell later to go back there later. Alright, we're done talking. And let's get out of here. I was like using the little nook in the mountain there that's directly to the right of town, and then you can go up and you'll dodge a fair bit of the terrain actually on the way up. And we're going to be running from all encounters out here as well, because we have no nice way of doing anything. So as a point, actually, because of an ambush earlier, so here's Mile, by Mile, we actually took some damage earlier, and we gained our levels as well. We do not want Chaz or Han to die here, because that means we would have to stop in Krupp to get them healed after we get Rune. So, for later, we actually have to get some experience later. So in Zima, we're just booking it straight up into Birth Valley, and within Birth Valley, we're just going straight to the door where the doctor is. We're not fighting anything along the way. Work your way through and hope for the least amount of encounters and no ambushes or cannot escapes. That would be the worst part if there's a... I should say it's the worst, but it gets annoying. Alright, we found the doctor. And from here then, we will go south to the next town where we'll find Rune. At least this, that cutscene punts us back outside without having to walk back, so that's very convenient. Just continue wiggling our way down. Don't need to fight anything. But after we find this is the fight that we're looking for later, Sand Newts. We like Sand Newts. They're worth a good chunk of money and experience, and Rune destroys them. Alright, so just walk up to Rune, talk, to get that cutscene going. So here's our first real menu of the game. We're going to be doing some equipment changing. We'll be doing a reorder of the party to put Rune out in front. And then last we'll be actually putting together our first macro. And on that macro, we're going to have just Rune using his Gra ability. It's just an attack all enemy spell. It wipes out everybody because he's just so strong right now when we find him. So I'm going to take this slow. So first thing I like to do is ordering. So you just go into status, order, select Rune, and just work your way down the list from there. All we care about is Rune being out in front. The second part will be the equipment section. So we're going to start on Rune. Hey, no equipable item. But wait, how do you unequip an item? Actually, when you're on this part, you just have to press left on the D-pad, and you actually get over here to select what you want removed. So we're going to... So just to show that again... Hey, left, done. So we're going to get rid of the circlet and the white mantle first. And on Elise, we're actually going to remove everything. For Chaz, we're going to remove his top hunting knife and his leather cloth. And for Han, we're actually going to equip the circlet that we just took from Rune, and then we'll take off the dagger. But finally, we're going to wrap around and go get that wood cane after the fact. The point of that is, we could have done that on the first pass, but we put this at the very bottom. So when we're doing the selling of all this equipment later, which is the reason why we're taking a lot of it off, it's at the very bottom. So it's the last item, and then it turns into the top item. So we can actually just mash our way through selling, without having to worry about where the wood cane is and trying to wiggle our way around the inventory. Alright, and as we said, the last one will be a macro. So for those who are not familiar, macros are a set of commands that you can pre-program into the game. You get access to 8 of them, A through H. And it's nice because it's just a pre-program. It's like, hey, I want my all buffing done, for example. But the key part is it sets the order of who goes first. And that's going to be very important throughout this run. So, for example, we're going to go and set up our Gra spell. And then get everyone else to attack. So that means now, no matter what, Rune will always go first. Then it'll be Elise, then Chaz, then Han. With setting the order. So we're good there. So if you want to, you can just walk. We're done with the menuing now. So if you want, you can either walk straight up out of town, or if you want, you can actually use Rune. He actually has the escape spell, the Heinous, to leave a dungeon, and Rayuka if you want to teleport to a town you visited. We can just teleport to the town where we were, Molkem, and it sends us outside. Alright, so now we're prepared to fight. And what do you know? We actually got lucky and we got a 4 sand dude fight. So in this case, all we want to do is macro away. Let Gra do the work for us, and we call it a day. We get a healthy chunk of XP and that. So what we're looking for is, well, enter Krupp and leave Krupp, is the cave to the next town. We want to get Watt learned on Han, which he already conveniently learned already. And Chaz needs to learn Zoo. With having those two, that's usually a good watermark for the money that we need in the next town. And also it allows us to set up some of our macros for later for a triple tech. What you can do in this game is if certain skills are done in a specific order without any sort of interruption from an enemy or any other character, it will actually sometimes, depending on what the skills are, do a double or even a triple tech. So up to 2 people or 3 people can combine their skills to do things. The one that we're looking for is actually a 3-person one called Tri-Blaster. We use it often during the run, and it's very handy because it just rips things apart. So we're just going to work our way through here, as we did earlier, and we're just waiting to see for Chaz to get his level that involves Zoo. And we'll just keep wiggling our way through. Not too worried about any other chests in here at the moment. Except there's one that I guess is worth noting. At this fork, you can go right, and you can go through there, and there's a chest with 300 Meseta in it. If you need money, if you're find that you have low encounters, you can just go and grab that if you want. But in this case here, I'm just going to keep going, because I actually got a good fight early on with the 4 newts. And another surprise attack there. Just work our way through that. And that was the one where Chaz gets his level. So they're both level 4. Chaz has Zoo. That's the part we care about. So we are good. So, oh, I guess we're doing one more. Why not? It's here. We're in no rush at the moment. Get a little bit more XP and money out of it. Builds up a nice little buffer. Alright, so we'll enter the next town of Tano. And all these stalls, all these sellers, but we only care about 2 of them. One of them that's sitting right here. The armor shop. So this is where I'm talking about where the ordering of what we unequipped earlier matters, because now we have wood cane at the bottom. So, actually, this is where you can just mash through and just work your way top to bottom until we sell that dagger right before the wood cane. And there we go, we're down to 1 wood cane. So with this money now, we're gonna buy 1 Titan Mail and 4 carbon shields. And we're gonna be putting that all to use shortly. And then we're gonna talk to this stall over here, which is the item shop. And we're gonna buy 2 telepipes. Ordering matters here. 2 escapipes. And about 3 monomates, because those are gonna come in handy later. Alright, we're all done. So, when you're done all that, this is what your inventory should probably look like right now. A wood cane, Titan Mail, 4 carbon shields, 2 telepipes. Those will get scooted up as we equip equipment. The escapipes and the 3 monomates for healing. So, with that, we will continue on to the old man of the village and give him a talk. So, you want to hit these. It's an option that you can press down or no, but actually if you just press B, that counts as a no input. B again, so you do 2 Bs, and then anything that is a accept, so A or C. And then we'll just continue on through. As Elise just socks him one. So after this cutscene, we're actually going to do our second menu of the game, which involves no party ordering. The party order is going to be exactly how we want it right now. We want Grizz out front, then Elise, then Jazz, and then Han. So we're actually going to go to the equipment part, and Grizz loses his armor. He lost his right to armor right now. He has to think about what he did wrong, because unfortunately he was here. And then Elise will equip the Titan Mail and 1 of each of the carbon shields. And Chaz will equip a carbon shield, the Titan helmet, and the Titan Mail. Or titanium, I guess. And then Han will equip the carbon shield. So that gets rid of all the equipment we had lying around. So now we have all these items here near the top. And a random leather helmet, but that's okay. We don't need that. And with that, we're actually going to set up our second macro. So we're going to actually overwrite the first one because we lost Rune, so we have no Gra anymore. And this is where we're going to set up our triple tech. So we set up for Han first to cast Watt, Chaz to cast Zoo, and Elise to cast Fwa. And then Grizz can just attack, just to finish it off there. So we've done equipment, we've done our macro, we're good, let's go. Go into the basement to find the Alsh line so we can turn all the people of Zima, unpetrify them. So this is another dungeon that we are just running through, except if we get a surprise attack. If we get a surprise attack, then we will put our Tri-Blaster macro to use. But otherwise, just boogie right through. That's all we're doing. That's a surprise attack, however, they're blobs. They're not worth a whole lot. They're in the last dungeon, so through the cave that we did to walk here. So we actually come and get the Titan Crown that's up here, just so we can actually give Elise a little bit more defense. So that actually is the rest of her gear. She's gonna get no more gear for the rest of the run. Not a surprise, so we'll run away. If that was a surprise, that would have been a decent one, because those are all net new enemies, so they're worth a good amount. You know what? Why not? Because we have the example here. We've got a surprise attack, so we'll use our macro A for doing a Tri-Blaster. Just to show off what it is. See, doing 130 damage just wrecks them. And we'll just continue our merry way to the last floor of this. And unfortunately, due to the fact that, yes, we gained levels, however, we have not rested at an inn yet. So we haven't restored any of our TP yet, which is used for these surprise attacks. We only get 1 shot of Tri-Blaster, so if you get it off, that's fine. That's all that really matters. So we'll hit this chest here, and there's our Alsh line. Alright, so this is where some of those items that we picked up are going to come in handy. So we're actually going to use 1 escapipe to get out of here. And one telepipe, and we're going to go to Zima. And all you need to do is walk into town and you trigger the next cutscene. This one's a little bit longer, so this is always a good time for if you need to take a drink or contemplate things or read your notes. This is a good time to get caught up for where you are. So let's see, where are we at actually in the notes right now? Okay, here we go. So, with freeing the town, everything seems to be coming back to normal. So everyone just gets to chill and relax for a moment as they decide what they want to do next on their one day off that Elise allows. But, oh no, someone is screaming. Surprise! It's Iggy again. And he's exactly the same as the first time we fought him. So again, he's a boss, but not a boss. So that means he's actually vulnerable to instant kill attacks. And conveniently, Grizz has one. So we're going to put that to use. So he'll do that. Elise will defend. But he's also can be paralyzed as well. So we'll do Earth again as well. So we got the paralyzed that time. And the crash missed. But see, his sprite stopped while it was paralyzed. But when we went on to the next round, the animation started going in, so that means it wore off. So we'll just do the exact same thing again. Paralyzed. Insta-kill. There we go. So if the insta-kill missed, but the paralyzed stuck, we could have ran. It is possible that that fight returns sideways, to say the least, and does start spawning other enemies. If it does start spawning enemies, Elise can use Foi to just clear them out, because she can one-shot them easily. So, we'll just do a quick save here before going in. You don't necessarily need to do this, but sometimes the biolab can go sideways, and just having a save there, just so you don't have to go through the entirety of what we just went through again easily. So, we'll just run from all this as we work our way to the bioplant through Birth Valley. Ooh, getting all the Kenna escapes here. Wow, vicious fight. There we go. But that's kind of the nature of this game. Sometimes you just get through this chain of you cannot run, and seen instances where you just can't run for upwards of 5-6 times. You just keep trying as the enemies just keep whittling you down. Bioplant. This is where things can start to get fun. So our goal is just to get to the very end here so we can get our next character, Rika. So at least the first few rooms are pretty straightforward. Just keep... Ooh, nice ambush. Sneaky, guys. I want Grizz to last a little bit longer because I want him to absorb hits. So I'm actually, one of the few times I'm actually going to heal him in this case. And everyone else is okay. Because there's some fights later on that him just being a bullet sponge is incredibly handy. Because if we get some certain fights in here, they're actually somewhat difficult to run from. And we have that Tri-Blaster macro. We'll just use that to go through. So of note, I didn't mention, when we came to Zima and did the cutscene there, we actually got a rest. So everyone's actually healed up right now. We got, like, Chaz all of a sudden has 19 TP. And if you notice, when we're going through the basement into No, we actually had only 10. So now we actually have access to 3 Tri-Blasters. Neo Whistles, these guys are tricky to run from, and they can do some pretty good damage. So in this case, we're gonna try to Tri-Blaster. However, they decided to snipe out Han, which makes this rather troublesome. Now we cannot Tri-Blaster anymore. So we'll just get rid of this guy, because he's still worthwhile XP. And because Han's dead, it actually makes it a little bit more convenient, since we don't have to worry about Han picking up any XP and shunt more onto Chaz, which is more important at the moment. So I'm going to leave it at that there, and we'll just keep on going. Because this last section is going to be kind of mean. Speaking of things that are hard to run from. There we go. So this next section, this is the tricky part. This is the section that you can get randomly killed in. So down here is a ceramic sword. And in that case, we're actually going to change the equipment on Chaz to have that. And if Han was still alive, he would actually gain the benefit of gaining this carbon shield. What that actually works is twofold. Giving the carbon shield allows him to be tougher, but that leather shield. This leather shield down here is going to be very important later on when we do some item juggling to get things from the bottom of the item list to the top of the item list, and that's the POW shield in Gerberuk Tower, which is significantly later, and we're talking about fighting Dark Force 2 later on. And wow, that was a very convenient walk, so I don't think I got a single encounter in that room. So here's Rika, or soon to be Rika. Hey, there's Rika. I'm just gonna let my voice kind of rest for a bit. So our next task is a little bit of money grinding and a little bit of experience grinding. So we're actually gonna go, once we're done with this cutscene and leave Zima, we're actually gonna go west and north. So northwest, haha. To the next town and rest up there, and then go to the wreck that's nearby. And that actually has some pretty handy gear, and some of it's actually incredibly handy for a good while for the run. There will be the ceramic mail is available, and there we'll be using it for a fair bit on Chaz and Rika. And then there's also a ceramic shield that is used very heavily by Rika for a good bit of the run, up until the point where we're going to the Mist Vale as we're preparing to go to Air Castle. That'll be the last time we actually use it. So it's used for a good while, over probably a good hour and a half of the run. At least by my timing, at least, when I think about it a little. So, here we are, everyone's just chatting, and we're going to take Rika with us. So Rika starts at level 1, which, so some would think that's a problem. It's not going to be. How this run pans out in the early game is we'll get Chaz and Rika up to about the same level, level 9. And then Rika, for 2 bosses back to back, she will be the sole survivor of it. And she's going to get a lot of experience. She is going to carry the early game. Oops, no, left. Aha, that's what happens when you leave your turbo on. So, in this case, we have another menu here. So we're actually going to change the order of the party. So I'm going to do Grizz, Elise, Han, Chaz, and Rika. Just to put Rika in the back, just to make sure she's the least likely to be targeted. So if you didn't know, the party order does dictate the odds of who gets hit. So Grizz being in the front will have the highest chance, Elise second, and so forth. The next part will be a macro. We're going to keep this Tri-Blaster macro because it's going to be pretty handy for us. And we're going to make a new one. So for this one, Elise will do Flaw, Rika will attack, Chaz will attack, Grizz will attack, and Han will cast Watt. And we're going to be using that for attacking some of the monsters in the wreckage that we're going to be coming to shortly. So we're just going to run our way past all this here. Actually, if we get a certain fight in here, this would be very convenient. Nope, no fight. There's some worms that you find in this section. I can't remember the exact name of them that you can fight, and there were some pretty easy experience as well. And we actually had a good setup of having Chaz and Elise and Rika being the ones that are alive, because it gives someone that can actually help kill, and also the other two which actually want the experience. So we're going to do another save in here, because I found sometimes in the wreckage in this first room, sometimes things can go incredibly sideways, and the people that you want alive to be dead. So whistles, these are the monsters we're actually looking for. Since there's 3 of them, we're actually going to use a Tri-Blaster macro this time, hopefully. Apparently that's not going to be the case this time. So we'll actually shift it up then to go to our B macro just to finish this off here. And get some good experience. So this is where levels get funny in this game. So as I am just get some quick healing in on people that we want alive here. Use a bit more than I wanted actually. Levels are funny in this game. When you level up, what's readily available is your maximum HP and your maximum TP are increased, and you expect to see that, that's fine. However, the rest of your stats are not increased at all until you open up the equipment menu for somebody, reorder the party, or at its base, the state area. If you go into state, this right here will update everybody's stats. This is all you need to do. So in this early game, when we got people that are gaining a bunch of levels very rapidly, doing this regularly is actually going to be fairly important because it actually updates all the other stats. So you can do more damage, take less damage, etc, etc. So since we've done that now, we're good. We'll just keep on going because again, Chaz gained level, I think. Rika gained 2 levels there. So 2 whistles. So we're just going to do our macro B again that we created because this works out that with Elise's flaw and Rika's attack should kill a whistle, and if Chaz hits this guy, it will kill as well. So we can actually kill 2 in a single activation. And we got another level there, so we'll just update our stats again one more time. You don't have to do it after every level, but during this beginning part, it doesn't hurt as well. Hey, wait, no, surprise attack. So, oh, hey, wait, no. Oh, they both missed. Cute. Money that I mentioned earlier is why we're here as well. I don't want to waste more resources there. We're actually looking for a minimum amount of money. We're actually looking for 3,625 money. So we pick up a carbon shield, and there's 1,500 Meseta right there, which we're at 3,750. We actually got some very good fights early on, so we're actually in good shape for money. And also we picked up some additional money from fights earlier on. Such as getting the Tri-Blaster in the Bio Lab. That's why we do that, to get some early cash, so we don't have to spend as much time here if we don't need to. So we picked up that Carbon Shield, and we're going to put it immediately under Rika. With that, she gets very tanky all of a sudden. So now we're actually going to change our order, so it'll be Grizz, Elise, Rika, Chaz, Han. If Han was still alive, now he would have the lowest chance of being hit, but that's not the case here. But we'll just do it for the sake of doing that. Also, that actually works as well, because since we did the ordering there, that actually updated everybody's stats that gain levels in here as well. So you don't have to do it along the way in this case. You can just wait till that room, get everything updated, and we'll be good. So we're just going to continue our way, fighting some whistles. Because again, it's still more money and more experience in the end. Because what's coming up, oh, that's a Diamate by the way, that's a stronger healing item than the Monomates that we picked up earlier. Actually, no, why not? We'll go with this as well. So Monomate is the equivalent of a res spell from somebody, and tends to be a bit stronger than what's available right now based off the stats that we have at the moment. And then Diamate is the equivalent of a Guy res, so that's the second tier of healing spell. That was actually good fights there. So let's get some healing going here. So we're actually really ahead on experience right now. Normally when I leave here, I'm typically level 5 for both of the two. Warren 286s we do not want to fight. They hit like Mack Truck, and they're hard to kill. Pick up a ceramic knife there for selling purposes. More whistles. Let's see if we can actually get out of this fight. Because we're so far ahead right now, I'm not worried about it. For experience and also for money. So we'll just run. And we're here to pick up our last item, the ceramic mail. So now, this is how I like to do it is escapade. Get outside, and just walk back to town again to sell. So the reason why the 3,625 is so important is this is 125 to rest here, and then we need 3,500 Meseta for our next bit of shopping in the next town, which is actually the town that we started in at the beginning of the game when Chaz and Elise were leaving. Alice, Elise. Keep thinking about it now. So we'll just keep running from everything here. And just head on over. So we're in Aido, and we'll just work our way up to the weapon and armor shop. So first up will be the weapon shop here to buy the Saber Claw. Normally you always have enough money to get at least that. It's the second one, this helmet, that we're gonna buy. We're gonna buy the ceramic helmet. If you're short money, you can actually sell something like the claw, for example. That one sells for 500 on its own. So that's actually a healthy amount in case you're short on cash for some reason. If you do ever need to sell here, that means we will need to take some additional equipment off people later when we are going to be fighting Juza in Zio's castle. But I'll bring that up later once we get there. So now we'll go to the Hunters Guild, and we'll talk to the receptionist here, and we're going to pick up the first side quest here, the ranch owner. His sandworms are out of control. We are being hired to fix his problem there. So we'll deal with that soon enough. Now we got another menu here. So we're going to change our order once again. So we're putting Grizz in front, Han in second, Elise, Rika, Chaz. Because we want Han to die, because we don't want him soaking up XP here. Then we'll go on to equipment, go to Rika, and we'll equip the Saber Claw or the other claw. We'll go over to Chaz, and we'll equip the ceramic helmet and the ceramic mail. And that's it. That's all we need to do. So we can actually use a telepipe here to leave town pretty quick here. We'll just teleport back to Aido. And we'll come up to here. And this is the infamous slug grind. And by the way, yes, you can just save right here. This is actually just to save a little bit of time. There's a chance we may be resetting a lot here. So we're looking to be killing about 4 big slugs in here. And how to get big slugs are, once we actually get a fight with slugs in them, there'll be little slugs they show up in packs of 2 to 4. So we got 2 right here. This is something that is very convenient. When there's only 2 of them on the screen and you leave them alone, they'll actually combine into a big slug. There's a lot of nuance attached to how to handle going through these slug grinds here, so I'm just going to try to take it as we go here and bring up any situations I can think of. So since we got 2 here, we want them to combine. I'm going to start just putting some attacks with people that tend to be slower, such as Grizz and Han and Chaz. They tend to be slower. Elise and Rika will defend, and then Chaz can just swing with his sword as well. Typically, they'll combine before the other ones show up, so we can put in the damage for free. These slugs have 250 hit points, and we did about 80 right now, so we have 170 more damage to go to kill it. And we're kind of hoping that others will be killed off as well while we're at it. So in this case, I can have Grizz, Han, and Elise doing something. Grizz attacking, Han doing what, and Elise doing Foi. The other 2, Rika and Chaz, I prefer to defend with them at this point, just to make sure that we're okay. So now we have a case of Elise is paralyzed and hurt. So I'm going to take one more round just to see if I can get Grizz or Han killed off at least. Oh, that's something I never brought up. The wood cane. We took that off Rune earlier, but we didn't do anything with it. Now we're going to put it to use. This is a free cast of a res spell from anybody in the game. So we can actually use that as an item, and we can use it multiple times, as many times as we want. It's just a free heal, like that. Oh, hey, wait, no, that's actually very convenient. So no, let's try again. I'm feeling kind of sassy at the moment. Let's see if we can get Han killed off as well here. Nope, we got Elise killed. Unfortunately, that is kind of no bueno, and that's why I got greedy. Once I had Grizz killed, I probably should have just carried through. However, we need Elise for a bit longer, so her being dead is kind of a problem, at least for me. So I'm fine with resetting that. At least this shows off what is occurring here. So we got a similar situation that we did earlier. So we'll just do the exact same thing again that we did. Oh, Chaz was actually speedier that time. So we get the free wad off, 62 damage at 19, so that's about 80 again. We'll get these first 3 to attack, because I'll get it close to be within striking range of killing. Most of the time, Elise does 50 damage with her Foi spell, and Rika does 50 roughly with her attacks. No, we're good. Here, so we'll put that wood cane to use. Okay, that's good. This time I'm going to be less greedy this time. So we will do what we can here. So we did about 170 damage. So in theory, all 3 of these, or that would just kill. And we just got a whole bucket load of experience. Oop, and things you don't want to do, hit that talk. Because that just wastes a bunch of time. So you got to be careful when you're working your way up to the state. thing here. So I'm just going to update everyone's stats there. And conveniently, Han's alive, so we're actually going to use him for his TP, because I expect him to die pretty quick. Alright, let's continue on. And if someone gets paralyzed, you just need to walk for a little bit. It's a random amount of time. Oh boy, this could be fun. So, 4 of these guys can be troublesome, especially if it's an ambush. So I'm just going to do Watt. It doesn't matter who I target, so I'm kind of hoping that these slugs will be slow enough that Elise and Rika will kill off 2 of them. They combine, and then Han launches the Watt spell, and Chaz will defend. So Rika got a kill there, that's good. There's the Fwaf. They have 50 hit points each. So that worked out conveniently, so we did 63 there. So we'll do a Watt. So that'll be 63 to 120 to 170 to about 120 damage if all 3 of these attacks hit. Alright, so we got a lot of damage in. It's within about 30 to 40 hit points of dying now. So I'm actually just going to do some preventative action here and actually get Rika to heal up. And have Elise heal up Rika. There we go. So that's good. We're down to... Normally by my second one, I like having Han, Grizz, and Elise dead. In this case, I think we're going to be okay, because we're actually head on experience, so we can allow her to get a little bit more experience out of it. So we'll just attack, defend, dead. So as long as Rika and Chaz are level 7, we're probably okay. And they are, so that's good. So we'll update their stats again. And we'll just do some quick topping up, because the slugs in here can actually hit pretty hard. Alright, so now we're down to 3. Now we want to get Elise killed off. Here sooner rather than later. So we'll just continue working our way to the exit. Spears, guys. We do not want these at all. We want to run from them. Hey, Elise is dead. And we ran. That actually works out in our favor, slightly. So we'll just do a quick top up here. And hopefully I can get to the exit. So one thing to keep in mind, getting to the exit is actually pretty handy, because you can just save on this side. Since we already got 2 slugs under our belt already, we just gotta find 2 more now. And now we don't have to walk that entire way again. So having that safety place to go is pretty handy. So now we're just gonna continue hunting for slugs. So for this third one, we're actually gonna use some of our techniques, or skills I should say. Techs are different than skills. So now we got 4. So in this case, we're gonna have Rika attack one of them. And Chaz has his Zoo spell. That could actually kill a slug as well. Hopefully he's quick enough. So we'll see what occurs here. So Rika got attack in for 59. That's excellent. They're spreading out the damage. And there's a Zoo. Therefore, there was 1 left with an action. And that's all you need to get them to combine if there's 2 left. So that actually works out in our favor. So we'll do double slash here. And we'll do crosscut. This should do a lot of damage. 149 plus 67. So we're in the 210 range or so. So Rika attacking should be enough to kill on its own. There you go. That's slug number 3 out of the way. And we'll just do one more quick top up to make sure, because we're on to the last one, and we'll do a quick status there. And just in case things go bad, because things can still go horrible, we're down to only 2 people. And it only takes 2 attacks from a big slug to potentially paralyze the entire party. And if everyone's paralyzed, it's game over. Ooh, an ambush that time. Snazzy. So Rika took some damage that time. So we know Rika is very good at killing these slugs on their own. So I'm going to have her attack that first one. And Chaz used the wood cane on Rika to heal up while we wait for these 2 to combine. So here you actually have a few options. Unfortunately, we have no more double slashes. So Rika is only going to attack here. Chaz has Zeus, so that's worth about 50 to 60 damage. He can also paralyze these guys potentially, but I think we're in good shape right now that I'm going to be looking at doing damage. Hey, we got a crit out of it. So we did about 130 damage there. And we're going to do the same thing again. And we're done. Ryuka, that's the benchmark we're looking for, and both characters are level 9. Slug grind is over. Overall, that was actually fairly painless. That was not too bad. It can go really bad though, so always keep in mind and just make sure you have a save on hand. Either on the entrance or on the other side if you manage to get that far. So now we came to Kadari. Normally in the story, this is where we would actually go to Zio's castle and see what's going on. However, we're going to take a little bit of a side trip. So we're going to rest up the inn to get everyone alive. We're going to do now another menu where we're going to change the order of everybody. So we're going to have Grizz, Chaz, Elise, Rika, Han. This is twofold of who we want to be hit that can survive hits. Han, we want to live for a while for what we're about to do next. And Rika's in a convenient spot, and I'm going to talk about that later. We've done that. Now we get to have some fun with macros. We're actually going to make a few macros now. So we're going to remove our first one, and this first one we're going to have Elise use the wood cane, that healing item that we found earlier. Rika is going to attack. Han will cast Watt, and Chaz and Grizz will attack. Our second one is going to actually have Rika defend, and everybody else attack. And this third one, we're going to have again Rika defend, but this time we're going to have Grizz and Chaz use their weapons. They're free turns, because normally you have to do something. And these are quick, they are not defending, and they're not attacking as well, so they're going to actually take damage. That's a big part. That quest that we picked up earlier for the sandworm, we're actually going to fight that sandworm now. So we're going to use Chaz to cast Ryuga, and we're going to head back to Mile that we saw much earlier in the game. Go into town, and we'll talk to this guy right here, because he's the one that hired us. And once he moves out of the way, we'll do a quick save, and we'll just walk up. Normally some people will go walking around in that area. Sometimes you accidentally leave town. Actually, as long as you move those 2 squares up and stop moving, you should fight like really quick there. Because if you stand in a spot, it'll eventually come and attack you. So this sandworm, our goal here is to have only Rika be the sole survivor at the end. This guy has 1250 HP total. And I actually have a bit of a nice little benchmark. I found it makes it easy to remember how much you're doing damage without counting damage. So what we'll do is here, we'll have Grizz attack, we'll have Chaz cross cut. So this is our turn 1 stuff. Elise will shift Chaz. We'll have Rika cast Saner, which is an agility buff. And just to rewind as well for those who don't know, shift is a melee attack buff. So we'll put it on Chaz to hopefully beat out the cross cut. So we get bonus damage on his cross cuts and also his subsequent sword swings later. And Saner is an agility buff just to make sure that we go fast. And we'll have vision, which increases our accuracy. So, hey, wait, no, missed Elise. And hey, we got a buffed up cross cut for 130 there, so that's really good. And a swing in there. So our second turn, we're going to do the same thing again, similar. However, we're going to shift Rika this time. This is a reason why we have Rika in the 4th spot, aside from being less likely to be attacked. But also, it makes it so when you're doing shift, you can just hit the button really rapidly because it defaults to the far left position, and you can just hit that instead. And that's going to be similar as well when Rika is healing herself. It just gets really handy. Rika will attack here, and the heavyweight of this one, Han, who we hope it doesn't die, will cast Watt, because Watt does close to 70 damage per hit. It's a pretty healthy amount of damage once everyone else gets through their damage. Alright, so Chaz got hit. So after the first 2 turns, we have everyone buffed up. We'll actually go on and start using our macros. So I find that if everyone lives correctly, if Grizz dies, that's okay. We have to do this 5 times total. So we'll do this. So here's our first one. So Elise heals and others start doing damage. Because again, Han is going to hit like a Mack truck here. We'll do our second one. Bye, Grizz. And do our third one. Okay, looking good so far. Do our 4th one. Okay, it hasn't hit Han, that's the important part. And our last one of this one. No one missed, thankfully, so that's good. So we don't have to do any additional things here. Oh, Chaz missed, but that's actually okay. So now we've done 5 of those. We're actually going to switch to our macro B now, where it's Rika's just defending, Chaz is the only attacker, and then slowly people will start getting whittled down. So usually if Chaz lives through 5 rounds, we're just doing 5 of these as well. So we'll do our first one. Our second one. No, he's not going to live this time. So because he missed, I'm going to go a little bit freeform here and get some additional damage in. So I don't remember how much Flaw does, but the Flaw does about 70. And say we'll assume Flaw does about 30, so that's 100 damage. Chaz swings for about 50 per swing usually. So this is the equivalent of 2 Chazes. So now Chaz is a unit of measurement. We'll see what we got here. 17, so it's actually lower than that. So 70, 80. So that was close to about 2 more rounds of attack. So we had two from Chaz. That's another 4. We had 1 whiff earlier from Chaz, so I was planning to actually do this 6 times total. So I'll do this one more time, just to get rough equivalency for damage. So now we're done, for as far as I'm concerned, for damage. And now we just wait. Just go through macro C to make sure no one attacks. Wait for everyone else to die off. And then once that occurs, we start doing some double slashes from Rika. So it should die within 3. So that's our second one. And our third one. There we go. That's the fight. And that's how much experience that Rika's just got. A lot. So we'll let the turbo take over for all the leveling that's about to occur. So yeah, that's Sandworm. In a nutshell for what you're looking for. So it just turns into a lot of balancing out who's alive, who's dead, and doing some quick math. So for example, that macro A that we're doing earlier with Watt and everyone attacking, if Han got knocked out very early, such as within the first couple rounds of the thing, I would actually up that from 5 to 10 of those instead. Because the combination of Rika and Chaz is roughly the damage of Han with 1 Watt. So it's a lot of juggling for what you were trying to do in that fight, and just knowing what the math is. So now that we've completed that, we've rested at the inn, we're actually going to change our order. We're actually going to change it to Rika in front, and then the rest we don't care, so we can just mash through. And from there, we go to Chaz, Ryuka, and we're going to collect the reward of this quest, because it's 5,000 Meseta, and that's money we're going to need very shortly. So I'll just come back to the receptionist lady up here. And this is where the turbo holding B comes in handy, because it ends. And if you had turbo anywhere else, you would start talking to her, but we're not. So once we're done, we teleport with Ryuka, and we'll go back to Katori. So here's another example. If you want to, you can just save out in front here. So as we know, though, Rika is level 17. She's a bit of a beast at the moment. So just to show off what she's got going for her right now, she's got a few more spells now. Before she had just had Res and Saner. Now she has Guy Res, the stronger heal, and D-Ban. D-Ban is a physical defense buff. We're going to be using that a lot throughout the game here. So, but not now, though. So we'll go into Zio's Fort, and we'll just work our way back up. We're not going to fight anything here, so we're just going to be running from everything. We'd like to have everyone alive, especially Elise. We want her alive for the Juza fight that's coming up here, another boss fight. So we'll just work our way up to these stairs here first, go down, and we'll pick up this 2,000 Meseta. And go straight down, and we're careful of the hole here. And work our way over to the right. I love these forced perspective bridge areas. They break up the difference of the top down. Now it looks like it's a side view instead. And, oh, we found a fight apparently. No, there's no mimics in the game. We're gonna pick up our laser sword here for Chaz and work our way back. And careful of the hole again, and work our way over to the right. It's actually funny, some of the monsters in here actually have an item that's used by an alternative route in this game called the Shadowblade route, where you actually keep Chaz incredibly low level, and pick up a laser claw here, and when you equip the Shadowblade, it actually reduces the magic stat, but if you keep them just low enough, it actually underflows around to an extremely high number. And you can actually have him cast the Gitu for 700 damage later. It's silly. Alright, so here's Juza. We are going to change our order again before we get started. So we'll put Grizz in front. This one I never quite remembered. So in this case, I'm actually going to refer back to the notes here to get the correct order that people may be reading through. Zeo's Fort, menu, Grizz, Elise, Han, Chaz. Nope, should be, that is incorrect. Grizz, Elise, Rika, Chaz. Because we want Rika to be in that 4th spot again, which makes it far left. That's very important. Now we're going to do some very important menuing here. This is going to be very handy. So Chaz will equip the laser sword, but he's going to unequip the ceramic mail, because we're going to give that to Rika, along with equipping the laser claw over the ceramic shield. So now she's going to have 2 claws for higher damage output. And the ceramic mail, why that is important, it has inherent fire resistance. So if Juza ever casts Flaw on her, she takes 1 to 3 damage. It's a pitiful amount of damage. So we've done our equipment, we've done our ordering, and everyone is healed at the moment. So let's fight. So Grizz will attack. Elise will do shift, but only on Rika this time. We'll do vision with Han. We'll do Saner, because we want everyone to be faster. And then we'll go on to crosscuts for some free damage. Juza does a lot of AoE damage, so we're expecting everyone but Rika to die very quickly. If he does an AoE. In that case, he almost killed Han. So we actually get some free damage in here. So we'll attack there, we'll do Flaw there, we'll do Watch from Han. We're not doing any other buffing with Rika here, so we're actually going to go right into our double slashes. We've doubled our double slashes. We're up to 6 already, so we're actually in a happy place right now with all those levels she got from Sandworm, because she hits like a Mack truck now. So here's hoping that we get to see some AoE here. Nope. So we'll do one more round of everyone going in on as much damage as possible. Something to keep in mind with Chaz. Chaz, we actually want to keep 8 TP by the end of this fight or more, because we want to use a spell later. So, but we have 21, Zoo costs 6, so we're not too worried about it right now. And we just got a free Tri-Blaster out of it too. How nice. That saves us some time. In this case here, I'm going to start calming it down on the damage, I think, a little bit. We'll eliminate Chaz from the equation here. I'm surprised all that hit. Okay, now we're hard stopping damage now. So we'll do these. We're using items to make sure that we don't do anything crazy here. Actually, we'll defend with Rika and then use an item with Chaz. So that was both 3 rounds of full damage once we got fully buffed up. There's Force Flash. There's the things that are going to kill people. So we'll just continue doing... Actually, no. This is where the dynamic part of this game comes into play. Of thinking on your feet of how you want to accomplish things. Rika still takes damage from Juza. But we have a free character here that's fast. But we want her to die. So why don't we just use that character to heal Rika instead? And there we go. We just got a free heal out of it. And there's our AoE. So that's the last AoE we're expecting here. Oh, wait. We have no macros here. What am I talking about here? So we'll just continue the double slash train. And 46. So this is one of the few fights where we actually have to keep in mind our cutoff for damage that we're receiving. Once Rika gets below 49 health, we want a Guy Res now. Or Guy Res, whatever it may be. Because Force Flash can hit for upwards of 50 damage. And we'll just continue using our double slashes. And we've run out of double slashes now, so we're just on to attacking. So we're still above 50 HP, so we'll just keep going. So it looks like we could have actually pushed for a little bit more damage in this from the others there, but I wasn't too sure where it is, because I actually don't know the numerical value. And I haven't come up with a convenient rule of thumb yet for how many rounds to do things. But I'm betting he's close. 40, so we're still good, so we're at 60 HP. 2 crits back to back. That actually makes it really handy. Another 5,000 XP. That's a free level. So, now that we're here, we're done. We're down to only Rika in this place, so we'll just heal ourselves up. Excuse me. So this is where we have to do a little bit of thinking. We heal up. We actually strip Elise of her Titan Crown and Titan Mail. back in Edo, when I mentioned that in case you had to sell a claw or sell the items to pick up the saber claw and the ceramic helmet, this is the point in time where we pick up some extra gear if we need to. So for fun of it, if we did have to sell stuff, we'll grab the carbon shields there, and not Chaz, that's not the right person, Han. And we'll just take the stuff off of Han as well. That should guarantee to give us the money that we're going to need next, because the next section, we actually have a pretty hefty shopping trip. We're in the ballpark of buying stuff for about 20,000 total. So we'll just work our way up to the top here, and we will go and find Demi, who we've been looking for this entire time. Let's get through this to find Zio. Da, da, da. So for a lot of people who have played this casually, they realize at the beginning, it's like, hey, I can't do anything in this fight. I can't hit him. Well, yeah, because we need a plot item called the Psycho Wand to punch through his magic barrier. So in this case, since we know that we can't win, we can't do anything at all, you can actually just run from this, because this is a fight that takes a set amount of turns. So we're just going to be, once we get into combat, just run. So this is where things like the turbo come in handy. You just select run and away it goes. And there's that part there. And Elise got hit. She took the hit for Chaz. And so we go back to Krupp and we meet Han's fiance. Because apparently the entire time that we've been taking money from him, we've been drawing against his wedding fund by accident. Oops. Sorry, guy. So another reason why we stripped the gear off of Elise and Han is because now this is when they leave the party, and they leave the party permanently. Spoiler alert, they're gone. Well, one's gone, one we can maybe get later. So we're just getting through this, and this is where we want to save the TP for Chaz as well. We want to actually use Ryuka to leave town pretty quick rather than having to walk all the way out of the inn and then out of town again. But we gain Demi out of this now, who's an android, who's actually kind of a bit of a healing android. Her skills that she has, there's one that's medical power that heals everybody and also revives anybody that's dead. And she has a self-heal for herself because she needs one, since our healing spells don't work at all. So we're almost coming to the end of this cutscene here. Alright, we're done. So what we're going to do here is we'll go to equipment and Rika. We're going to unequip her head armor and body armor. Chaz gets back the ceramic mail that we borrowed earlier. And then Demi, we actually strip off the headgear and the Titan armor, but we're going to keep the impactor there for now. If you need money, the impactor's available, but well, that's for another time. And then we'll use nope, not Hina's, Ryuka out of Krupp. And we'll just work our way south now. And we're not fighting anything because they are not worth our time. Probably just another addendum as well. This route that's being used right now, this is not by my design at all. This is I wrote the notes for what was at the time the world record of 257 by Tyler the Driver. So you may want to check him out because he runs this exceptionally well. And actually he's already bumped down the time to 255 since the original writing of the notes. And the he's done good work on routing out what's been going on, similar to, say, Big Von Valls. For example, he's another person. He does a slightly different route than the others right now. I should clarify that 255 is the posted world record right now. We've seen times as low as 249, I believe, is the time that we saw with the Shadowblade route, actually, that I mentioned earlier. Alright, so we'll work our way here, up and around, because we're going to one of the next towns for just a quick visit. We're not worried about fights here at the moment, because typically these fights are pretty low. Well, the experience may not be bad, but the money tends to be garbage. So there's no point in fighting these at all, because our experience and money is already figured out. So we made it to Monson, and we'll leave. Scoot to the right a little bit, and we'll go back in our Land Rover. and work our way this way. So we go to Tano, our next town, and also our next shopping trip. So we're going to do a lot of selling here now. So I think we're looking for 194 or 190, or no, 19.4 or 19.6k money. So we're at a little over 10,000 right now. We still have our monomaids. That's actually pretty impressive right now. So I talked earlier about the leather shield is important. The leather helmet you can keep as well if you want to have a similar placeholder for another item called the Swift helmet, which we'll find in the air castle. Personally, I don't, because it's not used very often. So we're going to get rid of that guy. And we'll continue our selling spree here. But we've got to make sure not to sell off that leather shield, because we want that. And just continue selling pretty much all the equipment. I made a mistake there. I was supposed to equip that ceramic shield back onto Rika earlier. Nope, I didn't. So I made a boo-boo. So we can recover from that still, though. So that's actually a very... Because that ceramic shield I brought up earlier was very important, and I just straight up just got rid of it. It was supposed to be equipped on Rika back when we were stripping equipment off of Rika after we left Han and Elise. So we'll see where our money is at first, and then we'll go from there. Circlet. So we picked up some extra stuff for the money. And graphite crown, headgear. Now we're getting to some of the big ticket items. Alright, so we sold off everything we were planning to there, except for that. Because we should have sold off one of the claws as well. So actually, we can readjust that as well. So we will unequip the saber claw, because you're supposed to be gone. Because instead of the ceramic shield, we're supposed to sell this. So we actually have a lot of money, like way higher money than we were expecting right now. But that's okay. So we'll finish this shopping, and then we'll do the recovery of the error that I just made. So we're going to buy one side crown, one side mail, and 2 side shields. So we got 2,600 money left over. Now this is where I'm curious. We can actually get a replacement shield if we want to from Ado. So this is a good thing to keep in mind in case something goes south and you just forget something with the ceramic shield. So we actually just go back to the armor shop that we picked up the ceramic helmet from earlier, and there's going to be one for sale here. So we did all of our purchasing we needed to do so far, and it's 2,300 for a ceramic shield. We actually had extra cash to be okay. So we're actually bang on for money for where we wanted to be right now. So let's now rewind as if this didn't happen. Go back into here. So we are now pretending that we did everything correct here. So Rika should already have that on already. Rika is one getting the side mail and the side crown. And those side shields we're going to save for later. So we're going to be selling the impactor here, the ceramic helmet mail and laser sword on Chaz, and, well, Grizz still has his favorite axe. So we're done here. So we can actually... My TP is kind of all messed up right now. Normally I would just Ryuka out of here, but since I used more to bounce around, I want to save some of it for later. So we will hop back into our handy-dandy Land Rover and go to Ladea Tower for some sweet, sweet music. And also get Rune. I guess that's kind of important, I guess. So if you want, you can do a quick save here. Typically I don't, but we'll just put one there. And we'll work our way through the tower real quick. Hopefully. We'll see what the encounters have to say about it. Oh, can't escape. These are the guys you could kill for the Shadow Blade or whatever it's called. For the alternative strat. I think this is the last spot that typically you try to get it. If you don't, it's a reset. Because you can't waste too much time. Because it's a little rare drop. It's hard to get. Surprise, it's Rune. So we're just finding out about the Psycho Wand that could help with the barrier against Zio. So now we got Rune. Now Rune, similar to Chaz and Rika, are permanent. They are not leaving the party at any point in time. So we were wanting to get experience onto them. So we're going to get another menu out of the way. So we'll change our order here. We're going to do Grizz, Demi, Rune, Rika, Chaz. That may seem odd, because, well, look at Rune. He has low hit points. He's a caster. You don't expect him to be a frontliner. Why wouldn't we put Rika in front of it? There's a reason for that. Because those side shields, you can equip two. You're not restricted to one shield in this game. By having two of them, he actually gets, in the early game, incredibly tanky. A lot of the attacks in here are going to do 1 damage to him. We don't even care at all. So that's done. And another macro we're going to make here is, I believe that is Hewn Disrupt. Yeah, it is. So Rune does Hewn, Rika does Disrupt, and the rest attack. That can be used for some of the monsters in here. Sometimes the ghosts in here are kind of tricky to run from, so having that macro on hand can be used for that. And also that macro can be used later on as well in some other areas. Oh, bye Grizz. So here's the funny part. People dying. We're actually not too worried about it right now, because Rune is so tanky that very little have a very low chance of killing. But also Demi's medical aid ability will actually revive people, so we can use her before the boss fight to get everyone alive again, and then we can top them back up after the fact. So we'll just continue our merry way through the tower, climbing up the last few floors here. It's one of the last of 3 chests we're going to be picking up in here. That's a lot of rippers. Good thing they decided to leave me alone. So we get a frayed mantle here. That's armor for Rune, so we're just going to equip that real quick. That's actually a pretty good upgrade. Which sounds funny because it's frayed, sounds damaged, things like that. Centaurs are actually kind of nice. That body type of enemy is actually pretty easy to run from. So whenever you see them, if they don't ambush you, odds are pretty strong you can run away. These haunts, these are the guys that sometimes can be kind of a pain to run from if you have a pretty nasty string of luck. So that's where that macro H can be used. So that was a Stardew, and that's 1,000 Meseta. The money, always useful. Stardews, they are godsend in this game. They are a party-wide heal that will heal anybody that's a living person, so not androids, not Demi, not Ren, for a very large amount of health. So it's very handy. We're going to be using those later. Alright, so we're here. Usually I try to stop right here, because if I go one more step closer, it actually triggers the cutscene. So once you actually see the barrier come up, you know you've gone far enough. So let's actually put the medic power of there. So revives and did some healing there. Grizz we don't care about for HP wise. Everyone else got topped up by the medic power already. We have our equipment. There's nothing special that we need to do here. We just take our last 2 steps. And we triggered the next boss fight. Alright, so this boss fight, it only has 2 attacks. It has a Flame Breath attack, which is magical damage, and a very strong physical attack. So we're going to start with Grizz attacking. We're going to have Demi use Barrier. Barrier is a defense against magical attacks, so we're going to put that up. Rune's going to be using Giwat, a mid-range water/ice attack. Excuse me. Rika will cast Saner to speed everyone up, and Chance will do Crosscut. The goal of this fight is to have only Demi and Grizz dead. We want the other 3 alive. Youch, that hit for a lot. Because we haven't gotten D-Ban up yet. So, we're going to continue with Fight from Grizz. Demi's fast enough. We're actually going to, I think I'm going to use the Diemate here just to get Rika topped up here, because we want her to continue to cast her spells for defense. So we'll cast D-Ban there, and we'll do one more Crosscut. So there. Now we're fully buffed up now. We have the 3 big buffs that a lot of boss fights are going to have. D-Ban, our physical defense, Barrier, our magical defense, and Saner, our speed up. So we can actually start keeping up with stuff. So the hit on Rika was still pretty darn strong, and she's still not at max HP. So I think I'm going to use a Wood Cane from Demi on her. Giwat. We'll go on to Double Slash with Rika. And we have access to 6, that'll put us down to 15. Actually, Chance can do quite a few zoos if we want. However, we want him alive in this. So, however, if he ever gets targeted right now for the physical attack, he's dead. He's just straight dead. No, don't pass go, don't collect $200. It's gonna hurt. So we're gonna do one more from him, I think. And then we're gonna just put him on defense for the rest of the fight. We had a moment there that we actually attack there. So attack, Giwat, double slash, and defend. Crit, nice. Alright, so Rune's taking some damage here. So it's enough that a Wood Cane from Demi should be enough. So we'll do that, that. This is probably going to be my last round of attacking before I need to make sure that Demi dies. So hopefully this attack will kill Demi. And we got what we wanted, so we're good. So Giwat, double slash, defend. Because I was starting to get worried that it's probably getting close to dying. So Rune is actually starting to get low. So we're actually going to put Rika on healing duty here by using Girez. And defend there. And that heals for 106, so that easily tops up Rune, no problem at all. Fire Breath, that does very little damage, so no need to worry about that because we have the Ceramic Shield on right now. And there we go. We were actually pretty close. And 33 across the board there. And that's the other thing. Androids automatically bring themselves back to life at the end of combat, so you don't have to worry about that if they get knocked out later on. So we're done with that. Just collect our Cycle Wand. And now we say farewell to Ali/Alice here, because nothing could be done with the black energy wave that hit her, or that she took for Chaz. And now, unfortunately, she passes away. So now, we're pissed. Zio killed Alice Elise. We have a Cycle Wand to get through his barrier. It's revenge time. We're going after him now. This is what we've been building up for this first part of this video. We're gunning for Zio. So we'll just get through these cutscenes. We will do one more shopping. We'll do one more menuing. And then we will go back to Zio's fort and go beat him up. Alright, so they've buried Alice. One last look at the gravestone, and okay, we're out of here. We're gonna get stuff done. So first things first, Demi loses the impactor. She's done with that. She's not attacking for the rest of the time now. And once we're done with that, we can use Chaz to Rayuka over to Termi again, because we're gonna sell off some of the spare equipment we have, and we're gonna buy another Psy Shield. And we're going to be using that for quite a while as well. These Psy Shields are bonkers. They are incredibly handy. So we're going to sell the Psy Robe that we took off of Rune earlier. We're going to sell the Force Cane that we also took off of Rune earlier. And we're going to sell that Impactor. So we will buy one Psy Shield. And we're going to put it onto Rika. So as part of the menuing, we will go to Rika. And we'll put the Psy Shield over the Ceramic Shield. That shield's still handy later. I'm going to make sure not to sell that. Once that is done, we don't have to change any order for anybody, but we can just do that for fun, just to make sure everyone's updated. And macros. So, first one is going to be the getting rid of the magic barrier on Zio. So, Grizz is going to be our lucky person here and use the Cycle Wand. Demi will do a barrier. Rune will cast Gifwa. Rika will cast Saner. And Chaz will just crosscut, because that's what Chaz does. So that's our initial buffing macro for Zio. And then the next three that we're going to create are 100% based off Rika and Rune, because those are going to be the two survivors of this fight coming up. So we always start with Rika. The first one is just a basic healing one, so we do the Wood Cane. Rune will continue to do Gifwa, and the rest attack, so we don't care. The second one will be the all-out damage one, so Rika will do double slash, and Rune will do Gifwa again. Oh yeah, the rest attack. Still gotta finish that off. And this last one is our big healing one. So Rika will do Girez, Rune will do Gifwa, and the rest will attack again. That's our macros. So we got equipment done, we have our macros done, we've updated our stats just in case. We are good to go. So we'll use Chaz again to Ryuka, and we're going over to Katori. And we'll do one more last save here, just in case. Chaz being level 11 there. Walk up to the barrier. And snuff it out and continue on our merry way. In here, the fights we will not be fighting. There's one group of monsters that if they show up, they're convenient because they're easy to kill. Because we have that macro H that we created earlier that's hewn from Rune and disrupt from Rika. If we see a bunch of tarantulas, hey, what do you know? Tarantulas. Throw a hewn at them, call it a day. It kills them off. It's worth a chunk of money and experience. It may not be much, but it's free. Let's continue our way up. Oh, surprise attack, goodbye. So this is where dungeons start getting kind of complicated. So we follow the yellow lines here in this first room. We float mines, no, god no, we don't want to fight those. So let's keep following the yellow lines to get going. And we'll book it left and up in this room. And again, following the yellow lines. These yellow lines are actually pretty handy for keeping you on task. That left elevator is a trap. That's not the one you go to. You go down. And, oh. This one you could, in theory, use that macro H, but it takes a bunch of time. The reward is not really that worth it. So I tend to not worry about them. So we'll hit up this elevator. Hey, surprise, follow the yellow line. It's like it tells us where to go. Go over one of these bridges again. Nice advantage is these bridges you can't get any encounters on. And since androids recover HP per step, so if Demi was at 1 HP off a res, take a step, 2 HP, another step, 3 HP, etc, etc. Those rooms are actually pretty handy that you get some nice free healing on there. So that's another thing to keep in mind if you know you're coming on one of those situations where you're in an area with no encounters. You can walk through there and that will probably heal up a good chunk of damage that someone has taken. And you don't have to worry about it. Alright, so this time we're going to take the right elevator. And we're on the second last room that we can get encounters in. So we'll just run from these guys here. Ooh, okay, that didn't hit. That's good. Because Rika is the fastest one, and if she's paralyzed, that could be a problem. Hey, bye, Demi. Wow, they're really wanting to be dead here. Huh. Neat. Wow, Rune actually took a pretty hefty hit there. That's actually terrifying. We actually have some spare monomates here, so I'm just going to use one of those to use. Those monomates are typically used more during the slug grind as healing for Chaz and Rika, because it heals for more than what their res spells can heal for, and also the wood cane. That's what I typically use them for, but you just got to be smart about when you use them. Oh. See, like Demi was dead after that last fight, and she was up to 60 hit points again. Already, just from that bit of walking. Alright, so this is the room that we will be fighting Zio in, so we'll use medic power to get everyone alive again. And because Debbie took some damage, we'll get her healed up. And Chaz can use up some of his TP here to heal others, to top them up. And Grizz in particular we do not care about for max HP. Everyone else is good. We have our macros done. Let's fight Zio. Alright, so match parry goes up by default before we do anything. So this is where we use our macro A, because we get 2 free turns to get going. Or 1 free turn, I should say. So that's neutralized. Demi gets the barrier up. Rune does Rune things. Alright. So now we have to start manually doing stuff here. So we'll attack with Grizz. Demi can defend for now. Rune can continue doing Kifwa. Rika will do D-Band. That's important because some of his attacks, even though they look like spells, are actually classified as physical attacks. So we definitely want D-Band up to make sure that we are A-okay. So Zio has 4 attacks. He has 2 single target attacks, and there's one of them, and 2 party-wide attacks. The multis are Corrosion and Hewn, and then the single targets is Black Wave and just a generic attack, for lack of a better term here. So, in this case, I'm gonna have some fun here. Grizz is gonna use a Wood Cane on Rika since she got hit really hard, and Demi's gonna use the Monomate on Rika as well, because she has more stuff to do that only she can do. In that case, that's Shift. Shift is the physical attack up that Elise had. Now Rika has it, so he's gonna cast it on herself. Oops. And Chaz is at a crosscut, so now we're down to Zeus. So we've got 3 casts of that, so we'll see if we can get all 3 of those off in time before he dies. So there's the Monomate, so I'll get her up to about 100. Oh, that's pretty good. So that's actually gets her back up to full health. Oh, there's Corrosion. Bye, Grizz. So this is where we have to be smart again. Rune, if you were paying attention, only took 1 damage from that Corrosion. Corrosion and Hewn only do 1 damage to Rune. So it's very rare. For 50% of the attacks, Rune doesn't care. Rika does, though, because Rika still takes damage. So this is where Demi comes in handy when she's actually still alive, because she can continue to use Wood Canes on Rika to keep her topped up. So we've done Shift, we've done D-Band, we've done Saner. Rika's fully buffed up. Let's start double slashing. And Chad's still alive, so we get a Zoo out of it. And then there's Hewn, so again we'll see 1 damage on there, and there goes the rest of the party. So we are back in the position of... We can use macros now for the rest of the fight, potentially. So Rika is at good HP right now, and so is Rune, so we can actually go onto our macro C, our all-out attack macro. A lot of fights we have these macros available for when we get quote-unquote free turns. So Rika is at 90 now. 90 is kind of a scary little threshold right now. There's 2 ways you can kind of approach this. You can either use macro B to do a little bit of healing, but you get into this weird state of that little bit of healing is just erased almost immediately, either from a single target attack or the AoE attacks from Zio. So I'm actually a fan of just using Gyres to get her full HP again, because healing from macros is smart. It'll go for the net lowest person. Because now, when the corrosion occurs, I'm at 114. I get a chance to get an attack in like that. But this is where you have to start keeping an eye on what's occurring during the fight. So we get a situation like this. Rune needs healing, so we'll go back to our Guy Res macro to get him topped up again. Because he won't survive a second one of those, that's for sure. So Corrosion is a pretty hefty hit, so we'll do Guy Res again. It will target Rika. And Rika has enough HP to survive anything, so we'll go back to double slashes. And now Rika's getting a little low, so we'll use Guy Res again. So Hewn is his lowest damaging attack there. So actually, if he does 2 Hewns back to back, you can actually do 2 rounds of macro C here for the double slash to Fwa without too much worry for Rika. But unfortunately, it's Corrosion. So if it's a high roll, at 92, we can roll with that. Okay, yeah, we're fine. So that gets Rika into the 60s, so that's where we'll use our Guy Res again. So it's just a lot of balancing act of damaging and healing back and forth. Because this game's really hard casually to keep everybody alive. We're probably down to our last few, if not our last double slash there. There's a black wave going on to... Yeah, that was our last double slash, so we can't do any more of those. So, Guy Res to get Rune back up. And looks like we're doing it again because that is a very healthy hit on Rune. So we're kind of hoping for Hewn now. No, it's a Corrosion. So Rika's starting to get actually kind of low on TP right now, so I'm willing to do 1 more Guy Res here just to get her up for HP, because more or less both of them will be at maximum. That was a pretty healthy hit there, but now we gotta do manual since we have no more double slashes. So Hewn, no matter what the damage roll, is probably gonna be a little too much there. So in this case, I'm feeling a macro B is gonna be more ideal at the moment, just to drag it out a little bit for turns, because the fight's over now. Victory. And they get 13k XP each. So that reaches the end point that I was looking for, and that was probably really loud of a clap, I'm sorry there, for what I wanted to accomplish with this video here. So hopefully it was informative, just be able to, me just doing more of a stream of thought of how I tackle this with the route provided by Tyler the driver for this. So I'm hoping this will be useful in some way, shape, or form. And we're just going to leave it off at here for now. Actually, I guess we can continue on through this real quick so we can save. And I'll make a save spot, so I can continue on this for the next video. So we're just going, hooray, Zio's dead. And Demi goes into the computer to do android computer things. Literally goes into the computer. It will be part of said computer. And it should be in there for the rest of the game until the very end, where you could potentially have her as a recruited character at the very end of the game, because you have 4 set characters in this game, and then 1 that you pick at the very end for when you go take on the last boss of the game. So next up will be Zealand, where we'll find our next character, and actually our last permanent character, Ren. So we'll just gain through all this, and conveniently enough, Demi brings out of the ground the what I call the Gadari spaceport. We're going to be coming through here pretty often, because this is our point of contact to all the other planets in the solar system here. And now we lose Grizz as well, because he can't leave his sister anymore. So we're just going to leave this here. I want to keep that save file, so we'll get rid of that one down there. Alright, so I am going to cut this off here. Hopefully it was very helpful, and have a good one. And next I'll be doing part 2. I'm not sure how much that's going to cover, because this is the point where up to Zio, it's not so bad. Zio and onwards, things get really fun with the menuing and the macros that you're using. So there's a lot of information to provide and a lot of things you have to start figuring out. So minimum would probably be, I would guess, up to finishing Air Castle would be the next one. That would be my choice, I think. So that'd probably make the most sense. All right, I'm gonna cut this off here, so goodbye.